Life in the Arctic is not for the weak of spirit or body. Getting just the basic necessities of life is challenging for the Inuit who live there. It is even more arduous for the few outsiders who set out to make the journey. Since 1974, Bill Prankert has been visiting the isolated communities of the far north, bringing a message of hope and God's life-changing power to the people who live there. In places like Rankin Inlet, Wakeham Bay, Arviat, Repulse Bay, and Baker Lake, the outreach of Bill Prankert has transformed the Arctic Inuit communities.
I really remember the first visit to an Inuit community. It was a place called Pavungnatuk up on the shores of Hudson's Bay, and we went in there for several days. And in those days, really, the village was shaken. I mean, people were saved.
Due to the perilous nature of the journey, meticulous care must be taken in protecting and maintaining the plane. The members of the mission must put their faith in God and their pilot.
And we went through the longest half an hour of my life, descending into Fairbanks through the second ridge of mountains. And there I said, I don't do this with fear. I have to just trust where I'm going.
In the Arctic, travel is just one of the many challenges. There are no roads between communities, and access must be made by air or sea. Either way, storms and bad weather can delay a mission for days, forcing a prolonged stay. Temperatures can be as severe as -100 with wind chill to comfortably tempered in the summer. Due to the transport cost of reaching remote Arctic areas, food, clothing, fuel, and supplies can be up to 3 times more costly than in southern areas. The Inuit way of life combines the traditional and the modern. Hunting, fishing, and making their own clothing is more than keeping their culture and traditions alive. It is essential to survival. In 1995, Bill's team embarked on one of their most difficult journeys, all the way to the Arctic of Siberian Russia. Just getting permission from the Russian government to enter the country was a trying exercise in international diplomacy.
We don't have much time in Russia. I really feel the door is closing very quickly. Whatever we do now.
Battling the difficult terrain, they finally reached the isolated village of New Chapolino. There are shortages of clothing, medicine, and school supplies. There are no church buildings. The hardship and deprivation of life in these isolated villages is severely challenging. Life in Siberia is even more difficult than the Canadian Arctic. For these missionaries who are witnessing firsthand the spiritual transformation of the northern communities and seeing the improvement in conditions that they and their sponsors can give, the hardships of the journey are quickly forgotten.
We've touched their lives, we've touched their hearts, their innermost. I've seen them being blessed. I've seen people very happy about our trip here.
Regarding the services that we've had with the Inuit people and the Eskimos here in Arctic Russia, the Russian people have nothing. But one thing they have is a hunger for God.
There is a sincere desire of mine to see more people from the West, Canada, the United States, and so forth coming to this region. It is expensive, it's difficult to get here, we've experienced that, and yet I would hope that all of the obstacles that still need to be overcome would not hinder Christians from all over the world from bombarding this area with spiritual gifts and prayer and the Word of God and Bibles and humanitarian help.